All right. Welcome everyone to the Montachusett Metropolitan Planning Organization meeting of today's April 15th, 2026. This meeting is called to order. Brian, please call the roll.
Okay, Derek Schuster, Mass DOT, representing Secretary and CEO Phil Ing.
Derek Schuster here.
Ian Sullivan, Mass DOT, representing Mass DOT Highway Administrator Jonathan Gulliver.
Ann Sullivan here.
Mark Pamarini, Leominster.
I'm here.
Michael Yaboa, Mart.
Here.
Abby Arpano, Subregion 2.
Here.
And Logan Bree, Subregion 3. Logan?
Here. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yep, I got you now, Logan. Thank you. And let me just double check. I know people are still coming in. Okay, I see from Mart, I see Stephen Oldfield as well.
Present.
Okay, thank you. And that's the signatories present. I do not see any ex officio members, and if I missed anyone, let me know. Thank you. We do have a quorum.
All right. Thank you, Brian. Next item on today's agenda is public comment. If we have any members from the public wishing to make comment at this time, please use the raise hand feature. I'm not seeing any raised hands at this time. If during today's meeting you do have any comments or questions, just use the raise hand feature and wait to be called on by the chair. Next item is approval of the March 18th, 2026 minutes. The minutes were shared in advance of today's meeting. Could I please have a motion and second to approve the minutes?
So moved, Ann Sullivan.
Second, Mark Pimmery.
Thank you, Ann. Thank you, Mark. Are there any comments, revisions, corrections to the minutes? Seeing and hearing none, Brian, please call the roll.
Derek Schuster, Mass DOT.
Yes.
Ian Sullivan, Mass DOT Highway.
Yes.
Mark Pamarini, Leominster.
Yes.
And I'll call Stephen Oldfield, Mart, just because Stephen's the administrator.
Yes.
Abby Arpano, Subregion 2.
Yes.
And Logan Bree, Subregion 3.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Next item is Federal Fiscal Year 2026 to 2030 Transportation Improvement Program, or TIP. Brian, I think this is you.
Yeah, okay. So last month we released amendment number 3 to the 26 through 30 program for a 21-day public comment period. If you remember, this relates to one project in the highway side. Harvard to Concord guide and traffic sign replacement on a section of Route 2. We have the original price in the tip right now from 2020, which is $734,000. Since that time, the design scope has changed. Cost of materials such as aluminum and steel have gone up, and the lead time has changed, all resulting in cost increase. So the updated cost is 1.845 million, which is an increase of roughly 1.1 million. Again, there's a need to amend this. This was sent out for public comment on March 20th. The period closed last Friday on April 10th. We reviewed it with the Joint Transportation Committee last week. Their recommendation is to endorse, and staff's recommendation is to endorse as well, and that's what we're looking for a motion to do.
Thank you, Brian. Are there any questions about the TIP amendment as presented? Seeing and hearing none, I did just want to note that this is an interregional project, so Boston MPO is doing an amendment for this as well. That's, I believe, on their agenda for tomorrow. But that said, can I please have a motion and second to endorse TIP amendment number 3?
So moved, Ann Sullivan.
Second, Abby Arpano.
Thank you, Ann. Thank you, Abby. Brian, please call the roll.
Derek Schuster, Mass DOT.
Yes.
Ian Sullivan, Mass DOT Highway.
Yes.
Mark Pamarini, Leominster.
Yes.
Stephen Oldfield, Mart.
Yes.
Abby Arpano, Subregion 2.
Yes.
And Logan Bree, Subregion 3.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And I actually have another part to this. I wanted to mention this administrative adjustment that we'll have to make to the same version of the tip 26 through 30. Mass DOT Rail and Transit Division has just announced Community Transit Grant Program Awards, a number of them which are in our region. So this is including some federal funds, 5307, I believe. So there's federal money. Have to be reflected in our regional tip. So in our region, MART, the Arc of Opportunity, and the town of Winchendon are each receiving a grant for vehicle purchases. Also, Montachusett Enterprise Center, or MEC, which is a nonprofit affiliate of MRPC, will receive a grant award for assistance in implementing a mobility master plan for the region. So again, there's no action required of this. This is adjustment that's going to be made, and it's informational.
Thank you, Brian. I just wanted to note it's the 5310 funding program from FTA. This is for investments that support projects spelled out in the region's coordinated human services and transit development plans. The coordinated plans, it's a very long acronym and a little different from region to region. But because this investment is listed in the statewide tip as a placeholder each year, the detailed investment for your region is now reflected in your tip document. Doesn't require a 21-day public comment release. We got concurrence from FTA about that process item. So one less amendment to worry about. But happy to answer any questions about the program. All right. Thank you, Brian. Next item is federal fiscal year 2027 to 2031 transportation improvement program. Take it away, Brian.
Okay, so the tip, which has been a main topic of discussion over the last several months, is available in draft form. We made that available to MPO members last week. Here's the document. It's much more than just the project list that we've been reviewing. There's a lot of analysis that goes into it, a lot of federal requirements and that type of thing. So this has been available to MPO members in the last week. After we go over where we ended up with the projects today, we'd like to recommend a motion to send this out for a public comment period. As I mentioned, we've discussed in detail mostly our regional priority projects, which MPO has discretion over project placement. These are basically municipal initiated projects and municipal jurisdiction roads. We've gone over the details with these. We went over a scenario last month, which we brought before the MPO for any feedback. Between last month and when we developed the draft, we've made some changes to that scenario. Overall, I would consider them improvements. If you remember, the main problem this year was cost increases. Significant cost increases across the board, which affected our list. There's a need to be fiscal constraint. We cannot spend over our budget for each federal fiscal year in the region. So, some tough decisions were detailed. Number of projects will need to move back due to fiscal constraint. Since last month, the difference really is we've been able to improve upon the list a bit. So the scenario that we built into the draft tip is what you see here. Basically, we moved 5 projects back 1 year. One project that we previously had listed drops from the list into the appendix, so it's not assigned a year. We advanced constructed multiple 5 projects over multiple years. 2 projects we previously had listed are now carried on the state priority list, so they're kind of off of our books. Still funded in the years that they were previously listed, but we don't have to consider them as part of our regional budget. Also, the main difference between March's scenario and the one that's in the draft is project 610, 681 in Clinton and project 612, 771 in Winchendon. Last month, we moved those projects back 2 years in this scenario. The scenario that's built into the draft, it's only moved back 1 year. So overall, an improvement. So what we ended up with on this side is 2027 Ashburnham Road Rehab on 101, along with Harvard resurfacing and box widening on Air Road. This is the remainder of the Harvard project that started in 2026. In 2028, we have the second portion of Ashburnham Route 101, along with reconstruction of John Fitch Highway in Fitchburg. I'll just point out that the red and orange highlighted projects have all moved back 1 year. Clinton reconstruction of Sterling Street, Route 62. In 2029, reconstruction of John Fitch Highway in Fitchburg, the second half of that. Intersection improvements at 140 and 62 in Sterling. In 2030, Templeton reconstruction of 68, Winchendon intersection improvements at Blair Square, Air Road rehab at Route 2A and 111, and the second portion of the Sterling project at 140 and 62. In 2031, the second portion of the Templeton 68 project and the second portion of the Air Road rehab at 2A and 111. The project that has been moved off the list due to fiscal constraint is Westminster roundabout construction at 2A and Barthwick Road. Previously, this was listed in 2030. Unfortunately, this is just the last project out. We just, due to fiscal constraint, we cannot assign it a year this year. As we look at this list next year, we'll see where we're at. One of the possibilities, due to it being partially on a state jurisdiction roadway, is possibly looking at a scenario next year, which we can move it up and possibly list it on the state priority list. But that's yet to be seen. That's a conversation for next year, possibly. Unfortunately, we have had to move a number of these projects back. Really appreciate all the feedback from the communities that we've received. We've had a lot of meetings with municipalities over the last few months. So this is basically a regional priority list that is built into the draft document. Aside from the regional list, we haven't gotten to review yet the state priority highway projects in our region. These are basically projects on state jurisdiction roadways in the Montachusett region. And you can see the section 1A here in green, regional prioritized projects. Those are the projects we just went over, the ones that we've been discussing over the last several months. Everything below that's a state priority project. So this is how it's displayed within the document. Also in 2027, for state priority projects, again, these are set by DOT, Mass DOT. Gardner Downtown Mobility Plan, they received a build grant, federal money reflecting in the tip. It's in 2027. Also, Fitchburg Ashby resurfacing related work on Route 31, Harvard Lancaster bridge replacement, Jackson Road over the Nashua River, Gardner bike path bridge construction, North Central Pathway over Route 140. In 2028, for the state priority projects, Athol bridge replacement, Main Street over the G&W Railroad, Fitchburg reconstruction of John Fitch Highway. This is just a small portion of the regional priority project that's carried on the state side. Harvard Lancaster bridge replacement, Jackson Road over the Nashua River. That's the second year of that project. Fitchburg Lancaster guide and traffic sign replacement on Route 2. Statewide item here, safety improvements with rapid reflecting flashing beacons at multiple locations, including some in our region. In Templeton, pavement preservation on Route 2A. Athol intersection improvements at 2A and Brookside Road. In 2029, for state priorities, we have Gardner Bridge Rehab, Mill Street over Baker Brook. Gardner Westminster pavement preservation on Route 2A. It should say 2A there. In Fitchburg, improvements of Memorial Middle School, which is a safe routes to school project. In 2030, one state priority project in Peterson, culvert replacement over New Salem Road over a brook. In 2031, there are no state priority projects. So this is the highway list that is in the draft. Again, our regional priority projects we've been talking about in the state priority as well. Also, transit list, we haven't reviewed this. This is available. This is what's built into the draft. It includes the same 5 federal fiscal years, 2027 through 2031. Number of projects are listed here. Things like vehicle maintenance, vehicle purchases, vehicle replacement, facility maintenance, modernization, operating assistance, that type of thing. So again, a number of projects are listed, and these are what's in the draft. So again, what we're looking for is a motion to send this out for a 21-day public comment period. In fact, we'll do 28 days just because it matches up with when the JTC meets, and we'll be able to review it with that group. We'll come back in May, review the comments, and vote to endorse.
Great, thank you, Brian. And kudos. I know what a pain in the butt it is to develop this every year. So, are there any questions for Brian about the draft tip as presented? All right. I think there's a request for a motion to release this for 28-day public comment as presented.
So moved, Abby Arpano.
I heard a second so move in there too. So, right, Abby.
Whoever you want to give it to.
Thanks, Logan. All right, Abby and Logan, have fun with that. Brian, when you're ready, please call the roll.
Derek Schuster, Mass DOT.
Yes.
Ian Sullivan, Mass DOT Highway.
Yes.
Mark Pamarini, Leominster.
Yes.
Stephen Oldfield, Mark.
Yes.
Abby Arpano, Subregion 2.
Yes.
And Logan Bree, Subregion 3.
Yes.
All right, thank you. And Derek, thanks to Mass DOT. The process has been streamlined over the years. It's as smooth as it can be right now. And thanks to everybody with a project involved that's provided information and had a lot of discussions over the last few months. Seems like it's in a good place, but we'll review the comments when they come in next month. So thank you.
Hopefully they're minimal. All right. Next item is federal fiscal year 2027 Unified Planning Work Program. Who is
Okay, I
presenting?
just have a short update on this. So this is MPO staff's work program for federal fiscal year 27. So we've been discussing this over the last several months too, kind of on the same schedule as the tip. In fact, we were anticipating releasing a document for public comment today. However, we're still waiting for some items which will affect the budget. So we're opting to leave that off until next month. So again, we've reviewed a number of tasks that we're considering. This allows us to run the MPO, basically all the federally required documents, all the long range planning, everything within. We also carve out a portion to allow assistance to municipalities. So that was a big part of that. We had a solicitation process. We detailed some of that in the last few months. Again, we're just kind of holding off 1 month, waiting for some things to come together to have a final budget in place before we release a draft document of this. So that's just my short update for this month.
Thanks, Brian. Any questions or comments about Unified Planning Work Program? All right, I'm not seeing any. We'll move on to the next item, Safe Streets for All funding opportunity.
Okay, so back in the fall, the MPO endorsed our safety action plan for the region. So this is a plan that we created under Federal Highways Safe Streets for All program. It was a long process, took a year and a half. We presented that back in the fall. We've been waiting for this funding opportunity from Federal Highway Administration. It came a few weeks ago. There's just under $1 billion available nationwide for projects under this program. Within our plan, we identified a number of projects region-wide, which are now qualified for funding. This is the project list. Every community in the Montachusett region has at least one. This was a long process. We went over this in detail with the MPO when we were building these project lists. We had a lot of back and forth with the communities, a lot of meetings, public meetings. Additionally, I know a few communities have their own plans. However, ours is endorsed. It's ready to go. And now funding is available to get some of these projects built. As a reminder, the whole premise of this is to work towards Vision Zero. So that's work towards zero fatalities or incapacitating injuries. That's kind of how we came up with this project list. The full plan is on our website. It's extensive. We're really encouraging communities to go after this funding. This is something we're tracking, by the way, long range, how we're doing in our goal of reaching Vision Zero. So that's something we'll carry with us on the regional planning side. However, it is up to communities to pursue this funding. Funding is available. The application deadline is May 26th. Additionally, the Bar Foundation has made some funding available statewide for municipalities to receive some grant writing assistance. So we've communicated that to some of our mailing lists. George Snow has been meeting with Mass DOT and some of the consultants working on the Bar Foundation's initiative. We've been back and forth with some communities that are interested in seeing some of these projects built. Really encourage everyone to go after these funds. All these links are live on the handout. Again, the more projects that we identified in this plan that are built, the closer we'll get to achieving our Vision Zero goals. So again, hopefully this program exists in the future. I have a good feeling it will, but there's always a possibility this is your last shot. So really encourage everyone to follow through and get a Safe Streets for All project built.
Thanks, Brian. Any questions about Safe Streets for All? Have any communities in Montachusett received SS4A grants for projects, maybe that they want to share more about?
So there has been a few planning grants awarded. I believe Fitchburg, Gardner, Clinton, Leominster were all awarded planning grants. I'm not sure about the demonstration or implementation grants. We're working with a few communities that are interested that have reached out to us since this has become available. So I think, that we have a meeting set up with Mass DOT and one of the consultants on Friday to discuss that a little bit more. We'll continue to push out information. I don't know if anyone else has additional information. George, I see your hand up.
Yeah, there are a couple of communities interested in developing a project through this current NOFO. So, like Brian said, we are meeting with Mass DOT in the communities probably next week. We're trying to schedule a meeting next week with the communities. So we'll let you know which communities are in the mix.
Great.
That's all I have. Thanks.
Thanks, George. Angela?
Hi, I wanted to let you guys know that we were interested in trying to apply for an implementation grant for some of the mobile eye devices that we've seen that were granted to the Boston, the MBTA. It's a safety, kind of a 360 view around the buses to help with pedestrian injuries or vehicle crashes due to blind spots and stuff like that. So that we are trying to look into whether we will have what we need for all of that. So I just wanted to let you guys know about that.
Neat. I hadn't heard of that. That sounds like a neat
Yeah,
program.
so I think it's MBTA was qualified under planning planning and demonstration for that grant. So the question would, or another question would be, if let's say we don't have that project listed in the list, based on the 4 projects, would we still qualify it for applying for the planning and demonstration for that particular project?
Yeah, so there are a number of opportunities here. Yeah, planning and demonstration, absolutely. Implementation grant, it's my understanding it needs to be listed on a safety action plan. Yes, Michael, I think that you basically you're eligible for a planning and demonstration grant.
And
Yeah.
and if it's helpful, safety action plans probably have a process where you can amend them, where this board can amend them if there was an activity that wasn't included on an existing action plan that you'd like to, at least for a more competitive application for the next step grant.
Right,
Yeah, I just know. Sorry, I know that
sorry,
after
Angela, go ahead.
I know after watching the webinars, this has to be in place before the application deadline of May 26th. So I don't know that that gives us much time for doing any amendments to the plan itself.
Well, as long as the plan, any plan changes wouldn't require a public comment period, but rather be presented to the MPO board, which is a public forum as well. If that's something that you wanted to reflect in time for the May MPO meeting ahead of a submission for the grant deadline, if possible. I think I would check with our federal partners, of course, but
Okay.
but yeah, reach out to Brian if you have a project for consideration, or MRPC staff. And yeah, I was just more curious about people's experience with the program, because I know it's one of the newer grant programs, and we've been seeing different types of activities all across the Commonwealth toward this work.
Derek, can I just ask, I'm not sure if you know, but how is it administered? Is it through MassDOT in an agreement, or is it
I
actually
checked with Derek Cravat. I
awarded?
think I think it has to be directly to the municipalities.
Okay.
Like MassDOT's not an eligible applicant for SS4A, but in circumstances, if or when the state's providing a match, or if it's through a federally contract with MassDOT, there's a process in place, and I would defer the
Okay.
municipal planning and support team for what that process looks like.
Thanks.
I'll follow up with you, Ann. Any other questions on SS4A funding opportunities?
Yeah, so a question. So let's say during the application, do we have a specific percentage of match for any proposal or any projects we decide to apply for?
Yeah, this program is a 20% match, so 80% federal and 20% match. So
Okay.
that when we applied for our program, we had a 20% match. At that point, the state Mass DOT was able to secure matches for regional planning agencies. So that's how we ended up with our regional plan.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. There's no other SS4A questions. We can move on to updates, starting with District 2. Daryl?
Yep, sure. So for District 2, we've got a few projects here. Let me bring them over. Okay, so starting with project 612151, this is Athol Bridge Replacement, Route 2A, Main Street over G&W Railroad. This is at 25%. Bridge type selection worksheet, resub 3 was received back in November. Reviews were completed late November. 25% design submission was just received on March 12th, and the review period closes actually today. So we'll wait to see what we get on that moving forward there. Next, we have project 613141. This is Athol Orange Bridge Replacement, Logan Road over the east branch of the Tully River. This is now under the statewide program. Anyway, this is at pre-25%. Wetland delineation was received back in August. Review comments were completed late August, and the 25% submission is due on June 8th, 2026. Next, we have project 608415. This is Athol intersection improvements at Route 2A and Brookside Road. This is at 25%. Virtual design public hearing was held on March 24th this year, and the 75% submission is due on July 23rd. And that's all I have for now.
Thank you, Daryl. Are there any questions for MassDOT Highway District 2? I'm not seeing any. I will move on to District 3. Ann?
Sure. We have Harvard Air Road. This is all in 2026. Harvard Air Road is at final design. The town is working on the right-of-way to get that advertised. That we have the Harvard Lancaster Jackson Road Bridge over Nashua River, but that was amended off 2026. It's now in 2027. That is at 75%. The 100% are due in June. There's no right-of-way, but there will be environmental permitting. Fitchburg improvements at Memorial Middle School. That is a Safe Routes to School project. The 75% are due in May, and we had the public hearing last month. We also are carrying Fitchburg's Twin City Rail Trail advanced construction from last year's advertisement. And then in 2027, advanced part of the 2027 is Air Roads advanced construction. It's partially funded in 2027. Ashburnham Route 101, the 100% are due in June. There's quite a bit of right of way with that one. Clinton, Sterling Street, which is Route 62, that project's at 25%. We need to schedule a design public hearing. Fitchburg Ashby resurfacing on Route 31, that is at 75%. The 100% / PS&E is due in November. That design public hearing was also last month. Leominster Lancaster Route 2 resurfacing, that is at a pre-25% design stage. That's a book job, so fairly easy for us to put together. And Gardner Bike Path Bridge Construction, North Central Pathway over 140, that is at 75%, and 75% and 100% is due later this month.
Thank you, Ann. Any questions for MassDOT Highway District 3? Seeing none, we'll move on to updates from Mark.
Hey everyone, once again. So I have two major updates from March, and one is service changes for our regional routes and also routes within Gardner and Athol. So within the coming days, we'll be speaking to the town leaders and also the community for their inputs and subsequently service changes to meet their needs. We have some major service changes based on the timing and also to improve connections from Gardner all the way to Worcester using our Worcester routes in Fitchburg. And the other update is our Air Devon Shirley microtransit grants, which we ran out of funds initially, but now we have some funds to continue the service. But the current operations, it's expensive based on the mileage of travel. It's 20 miles to and fro the communities. But after running this pilot, we've realized there are major destinations and major demand points for these trips. So it's better we sustain the grants by connecting them for last mile services and also the major origin and destination of the trips to keep the funding a little bit more sustainable as compared to the current operations. So these are the major two updates from March. Any questions?
Thank you, Michael. I am not seeing any questions. All right, we'll move on to Montachusett Joint Transportation Committee.
Yep, MJTC met last week, reviewed the tip, provided some feedback on the tip amendment we discussed today. Next meeting is May 13th. We'll go over whatever comments that we received, get some feedback from that group for the MPO. Also, we'll be beginning the process of our annual officer election for that group. Again, next meeting for the JTC is May 13th. And I can do MRPC as well. MRPC update is basically just our grant list that we've been providing. She's updated April 2nd, so all the latest information is on this list.
All right. Any questions for Brian? Seeing none, I think next item is administrative matters. Our next MPO meeting, if I'm not mistaken, is May 20th. Yes, May 20th. Any other administrative matters or board member items that they wanted to share? All right. Could I please have a motion and second to adjourn?
I'll make a motion, Mark Pomerant.
Thank you, Mark.
I'll second. Ann Sullivan.
Thank you, Ann. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any nays? Any abstentions? This meeting is adjourned. Everyone
Thank
have
you.
an excellent rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
Thanks,
you.
everyone.
Bye-bye.